Hi, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Lokman and today we'll be looking into man-in-the-middle attack. What is man-in-the-middle attack? This type of cyber attack happens when traffic between two parties is observed or manipulated by a hacker. When successful, hackers can steal personal information or login credentials. Cyber criminals also use MITM attacks as a means to spy on, corrupt information, or disrupt communications between two parties. Now, there are several methods of conducting such an attack, and these include spoofing, hijacking, eavesdropping, and intercepting. We'll briefly get an idea of these different methods, starting off with spoofing. Alright, so first off we have HTTPS spoofing. HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. This protocol is used by the web to format and transmit messages. In HTTPS spoofing, the attacker manipulates the browser into believing it is visiting a trusted website. After redirecting your browser, the attacker uses the vulnerable website to monitor communication and steal shared information. For instance, an attacker can register a domain such as xn something.com, which is equivalent to apple.com. Now, this is possible if the address uses a foreign language text rather than the usual ASCII. So at first glance, we'll see that it is www.apple.com. The spelling is right, everything's right, and we also check that it's a secure HTTPS connection. But if we were to copy this and paste it into another tab, we'll find out that that's not the case, and it's redirecting us to this website. So in this case, there is really no reason for us to doubt its authenticity unless we check it by ourselves. Alright, so next we also have IP spoofing. All devices that connect to the internet have an IP address. Spoofing happens when someone or something impersonates a trusted source. Attackers use IP spoofing in order to deceive users into revealing sensitive information by spoofing their IP and posing as a website or someone familiar. And we also have DNS spoofing. So DNS refers to domain name server, and this server converts names to IP addresses. When spoofing a DNS server, a user is forced to an imitation website, similar to the one intended to be viewed. So here the goal of the attacker is divert traffic or retrieve login credentials of the target user. Next up we have hijacking. Here we can see an email, and this is what we call email hijacking. Email hijacking occurs when attacker targets financial organizations for email information. After obtaining access to email accounts, attackers can monitor all financial transactions. Attackers then follow up by spoofing the financial institution's email and possibly providing users with instructions that would result in the attacker receiving funds. Now in this case, we have an email from Amazon, and even their email address seems convincing, but if you check, you can see that there's a missing A in Amazon. Apart from that, we can also hover above this link. It'll show where it's going to redirect us. So here we can see that it's a non-Amazon site. We also have SSL hijacking. SSL, which stands for Secure Sockets Layer, is developed in order to communicate over the internet securely. Sometimes when a device visits an unsecure website, that is HTTP, it is automatically redirected to the secure version, HTTPS. An attacker utilizes a computer and secure server to reroute information of a user right before connection to a legitimate server. Now this is SSL hijacking. Alright, we also have Wi-Fi eavesdropping. This is probably one of the easiest attacks people can do, and it's often done during recreational hacking. So Wi-Fi connections are configured and appear to have a valid name, such as Wi-Fi Starbucks. And if a user connects to this Wi-Fi connection, all of the user's online activities can be observed and personal information like their banking cards can be attained. Last of all, we have theft of browsing cookies. Now, a browsing cookie is a small piece of data stored by the user's web browser. This data is used to track browsing sessions. If browsing data is stored in a cookie and the browser cookie is hijacked, cybercriminals may be able to gain passwords, addresses, and other sensitive information. So how do we stop all this? Here we're going to discuss a few mitigation techniques that we can all practice in order to use the internet more securely. Have a strong encryption mechanism on wireless access points to prevent unwanted users from joining your network just by being nearby. Using a weak encryption can allow an attacker to brute force his way into a network and begin man-in-the-middle attacking. So the stronger the encryption, the safer you'll be. Next, use strong router login credentials. Make sure not to use your default router login password. So not just your Wi-Fi password, but also your router login credentials. If an attacker finds your router login credentials, they can change your DNS servers to their malicious servers, or even worse, infect your router with a malicious software. We would also suggest using virtual private networks. VPNs can be used to create a secure environment for sensitive information within local area network. So even if an attacker happens to get on a network that is shared, he will still need to decipher the traffic going through the VPN. Next, force HTTPS. That is, you can install plugins on your browser that will force you to connect only to HTTPS websites. And last of all, we can also use public key pair-based authentication. Be alert. So here are a few steps that you can take now. That is, inspect current Wi-Fi connections, check for malware, use a network sniffer, and monitor your network activity. Know your enemy, so keep up to date. Hackers are continuously improving their techniques, so we should also be continuously improving ourselves. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.